What is a prospect? Well, let's start by talking about what it isn't. You see, sales is a rejection business. It means you're going to hear no an awful lot more than you hear yes. Which basically means that unfortunately most people that you meet, most businesses you talk to, most potential clients or people who look like they might be potential clients, they probably aren't going to be your prospects. They probably aren't ever going to be your clients. You're going to have to get used to hearing no, and you're going to have to get comfortable with hearing the word no. So really, the prospecting process and working out what is a prospect is trying to, really get rid of all the things that actually aren't prospects in a nice way, in a nurturing way. It's done ethically. It's not pushy. But really what we're doing here is we're trying to work out what's going on in their world. Now, you've probably heard about features and benefits selling. Let's put it this way. Features are the things that your technical department might have come up with to describe exactly what it is that your product or service does. Whilst benefits are what your marketing department might well have come up with in order to make some estimate of how that stuff might benefit people in their world. But the reality is that we don't know. We don't actually know how it benefits people in their world unless we know actually what's going on in their world. So the whole prospecting process and working out whether somebody is a prospect or not is finding out more about them. Do they have the sorts of problems that we can solve? And do they have the sorts of commitment they need in order to actually solve those problems? It's not enough to identify a problem, you also have to identify the fact that they want to solve it. Because believe it or not everybody wants to solve their problems. So really what we're looking for here in Sandler terminology is pain. Now, you've probably heard of doing a needs analysis, which is asking open-ended questions to find out what their need is. Pain is a little bit further than just need. You see, a need just describes the gap between where you are today and where it is you want to get to. Pain actually identifies not only the obstacles to filling that gap, but also, I guess, the actual impact, which has a real personal emotional commitment attached to it. So the impact of not solving those problems. What happens if we don't solve the problem? You see, fat and happy stays sitting still, doesn't do anything. It's never going to move. What you need is to find the discomfort, the thing that actually is that little bit of grit in the oyster that's going to cause the pearl. What is the thing that is actually going to motivate them to do anything at all? If there's not a bit of discomfort, if there's not a bit of pain, there's not going to be a sale. So you need to identify that. How do you do it? Well, that's all about asking the right sorts of questions. There's a Sandler rule here, and the Sandler rule is quite simply this. Your value as a salesperson and ultimately the amount of money you are going to put in the bank every single month is directly associated with the quality of the questions you ask. And you cannot turn a good prospect bad by asking questions. It's all about good quality questions. So what we're doing here conceptually is we are trying to go for the no. We're trying to find out the no, N-O, as quickly as possible, because if it's going to be a no, N-O, we want to know, K-N-O-W, as quickly as possible. Because the one non-renewable resource you've got is time. You don't want to waste your time, and you don't actually want to waste theirs either. This is ethical. It's a relationship of business equals. You have to respect their time, and you also have to respect your own. Don't waste it chasing people who are never going to do business with you. Because frankly that's disrespectful to yourself, and also it doesn't put money in your bank, which ultimately is the test of whether or not sales has happened. Have you put money in the bank this month? That's the key thing here. So when you're going prospecting, you're going on a scavenger hunt. You're going to try and find out who is really a prospect for you by asking the right sorts of questions. Now, you're going to need to get permission to do that, because the sorts of questions you're going to ask, they can go quite deep. They can get really inside what's really happening in somebody's world. So it's important to be able to forge a proper relationship with people, which means good bonding and rapport skills, and it means having a clear rules of engagement set up front in order to be able to actually work out what's going on in the world, because you have to get permission to be able to ask the questions you need to ask. So we're going to be talking about all of those things during this course.